Have you ever wondered how faith can manifest in ways that challenge even our own logic? In a world often guided by skepticism and reason, there are moments so profound they seem to bridge the gap between the natural and the divine. In September 2002, something extraordinary happened in a quiet family garden. A photograph captured little Anna, a baby, seemingly lost in a silent conversation with a statue of Mary, the mother of Jesus. To her father, this wasn't just baby babble. It felt as if his daughter was truly communicating with the Virgin Mary, and that Mary was responding in some way. That same day, Anna's mother had been taking pictures of her in a brand new dress when, suddenly, the digital camera's battery died. After quickly replacing it, she turned back to her daughter and froze. There was Anna, standing before the statue, softly babbling, then pausing, as if listening for a reply. This brief exchange lasted for several minutes. Then, as naturally as it began, Anna simply returned to playing, leaving her parents completely awestruck. For them, that moment was sacred, something that seemed to transcend mere coincidence. This wasn't an isolated incident. Years later, a video surfaced online showing another child, a little girl named Emma Jo. She approached a statue of the Holy Mother with pure innocence, gently wrapping her tiny arms around it in a tender embrace. Her mother recorded the moment, knowing it was a memory to cherish forever. After a brief silence filled with childlike reverence, her mother softly encouraged her to say goodbye. "Say goodbye, Mary," she said, and Emma responded sweetly and naturally. Another video shows a young boy standing before a towering statue of Jesus on the cross, his small hands raised and eyes fixed, completely absorbed by the powerful image of love, sacrifice, and faith. Then there's a little girl standing before a statue of Jesus, who appears to be feeling a heavenly energy. Moments like these remind us of Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. The purity and faith of children hold a power that adults often forget to value. Perhaps the most remarkable example of this comes from a story that began over 100 years ago. In Ireland, a little girl was born so frail she could barely walk, yet she carried a deep love for the Eucharist, so intense that her story reached the Pope himself. This girl, Ellen Organ, more famously known as Little Nellie, of Holy God, lived only 4 years. Yet her impact was profound enough to change the practice of the Catholic Church forever. Ellen was born in 1903, in the small town of Waterford, Ireland. She was the youngest of 4 children, in a poor family. Her father, a soldier, was often away, and her loving mother was frail and ill. From her earliest days, Nellie was baptized and placed under the protection of God. But from the beginning, her delicate health stood out. She suffered from spinal tuberculosis, which deformed her spine, weakened her body, and caused constant pain. Even as a baby, her cries were soft, almost whispers. And yet, despite her physical fragility, Nellie possessed an extraordinary spiritual strength. Even as a toddler, those around her noticed something different. She was gentle, patient, and remarkably attentive whenever prayers were said at home. While her older siblings often fidgeted, Nellie remained still, her large eyes wide with wonder, as if she already understood something holy was happening. The early loss of her mother left a deep wound in her tender heart, yet even in grief, her faith never wavered. Due to her father's military service and inability to care for the children, Nellie and her siblings were placed under the care of the Good Shepherd sisters in Cork. There among the convent walls and the quiet presence of the nuns, Nellie's extraordinary spiritual journey truly began. At only 3 years old, her maturity and serenity astonished the sisters. She didn't complain about her pain, even though the disease twisted her tiny frame and made even breathing a struggle. Instead, she smiled, prayed, and frequently spoke of Holy God, her innocent name for Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. For Nellie, Holy God was not just a word, it was a living presence. Psalm 131 reminds us, "But I have calmed and quieted my soul, like a weaned child with its mother. My soul is like a weaned child within me." This was Nellie, a child who, even in suffering, radiated trust and love, inspiring those around her. She showed great reverence for the chapel, and her simple words deeply touched the nuns. "There is Holy God," she would say with childlike certainty. Her understanding of the sacrament surpassed that of many adults. As she grew, her love for Mass intensified. She begged to be taken to the chapel whenever possible, and during the liturgy, her eyes remained fixed on the altar, especially at the moment of consecration. Unlike other children who might get distracted, Nellie watched intently, as if perceiving the invisible, recognizing the real presence of Christ. Her devotion earned her the affectionate nickname Little Nellie of Holy God, and her fame began to spread among visitors to the convent. Nellie taught something profound. Holiness is not about age, strength, or knowledge, but about trust, innocence, and love. Her devotion to the Eucharist was so intense that, at just 4 years old, she requested her first communion far earlier than the church required at the time. "I want Holy God. I love him and he loves me," she would say. Her simple words began to touch the hearts of nuns, priests, and bishops, showing that true faith transcends human limitations. The convent chaplain decided to test her understanding of the Eucharist, asking carefully selected questions. To his amazement, Nellie responded with a faith far beyond her years. She recognized that Jesus was truly present in the host and longed deeply to be united with him. Her story spread quickly, and other priests visited the child, moved by her purity, certainty, and burning desire for communion. After much prayer, the sisters petitioned the bishop to allow Nellie, still under 5 years old, to receive the Eucharist. He consented, recognizing her spiritual maturity. The day of her first communion was marked by holy anticipation. Frail and trembling, Nellie was carried to the altar, and as she received the host, her face lit up with indescribable joy. She whispered, my Jesus, captivating everyone present. Nellie's love for the Eucharist only deepened after that moment. Each communion strengthened her, even amid pain, and profoundly impacted those who witnessed it. She became a silent teacher of faith, showing that holiness can reside in the heart of a child. Small miracles seemed to surround her, and even her suffering appeared lighter in the presence of Christ. In her short life, Nellie transformed hearts. Soldiers, priests, visitors, and townspeople were touched by her innocence and faith. When asked why she loved communion so much, she replied, because I know he loves me, and I love him too. Her story reached Pope Pius X, who was deeply moved. He recognized that Nellie's understanding and love for Jesus surpassed her age, and in 1910, he issued the decree Quam Singulari, allowing First Communion at the age of 7, forever changing church practice. Nellie became known as Little Violet of the Blessed Sacrament and Little Nellie of Holy God. Her brief but extraordinary life inspired millions of children and adults. She showed that true faith does not depend on strength, wealth, or status but on pure trust in God's love. Even today, her tomb in Cork is a place of pilgrimage, reminding us that the smallest among us can accomplish the greatest acts of faith. As Jesus said in Matthew 19:14, let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. Nellie exemplified this, even at the age of 4. Her witness inspires us to rediscover childlike innocence and faith, reminding us that God often chooses the humble and small to accomplish his greatest works. If this story has touched your heart, let it inspire you to share your faith. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the link in the description, and leave a comment sharing how faith has transformed your life. May Nellie continue to remind us that true holiness can bloom in the purest and most unexpected hearts.